about story, and I'm going to take a few things to that. With Big Bear Lake, like I said, I've been over there 10 years. God, that's about 1,200, 1,500 films. Some I've seen portions as small as maybe 1 or 2 minutes, some features. And when you watch a film, after seeing so many, you can kind of just tell right away whether or not it's going somewhere or it's not. And it's just from seeing so many different films. And really, it's the quality of the image, or it's the actors, or it's just what they're saying. Sometimes I'm in the background and there's a film playing and I just hear the dialogue, and that keeps your interest on the film. So really, it's all about the story. And I think that's really where, if you're going to focus on anything, we need to start with a story. And I'll give you some inspiration I had. Back a few years ago, Mako came to the Big Bear Lake Film Festival and received a Lifetime Achievement for acting. And if you don't know his name, I'll mention some of the stuff that he did. Excuse me, going all the way back as Hawaii Five-0. Charmed. Bulletproof, he played Mr. Kiyomi. Monk, he was on West Wing. Pearl Harbor. The voice of Splinter from the Ninja Turtles. And Aku, which is my favorite from Samurai Jack. And we had a moment to talk one time between the films, and I sat down with him. He's passed away. And I was working on my first major calamity, which was a sci-fi film, and everyone told me not to do it. I was crazy. It's first film, first feature. And they said, don't do it. I talked to him, we sat down, he said to me, you know what? Don't listen to everybody else. He said, make your film. But make your film your way. The first thing you gotta do is complete a film. If you're waiting and you're wondering, God, I just don't know when, it's never gonna happen. When you complete a film, you'll learn how to make a better film the next time. Because everything you go through is really going to prepare you to make the next film better. Because there's so many questions that need to be answered. If you try and figure them all out now, it's never going to happen. And that being said, I have a little thing about the do's and don'ts, and I'm kind of going fast. If you guys want me to slow down, let me know, but we're behind schedule. And I put together 5 pitfalls you need to avoid when making your film. And I'm going to make this available so that Eric can send it out to everybody. The first one, like I said, the story is the weak storyline. And before I say that, let me just mention the one thing that I learned the hard way, even after I was there 10 years, is that on your storyline, you need to have what they call the one line. Or your, oops, sorry, it's the wrong page. Log line, yeah, well, it depends on who you talk to. One line, log line. And that's about 20 to 25 words. That should define your story completely. If it doesn't, you don't have a story, you have an idea. Hollywood doesn't want to buy an idea, they want a story. And it should. The whole story should be right there in the log line. They read it, okay, this is what the movie's about. Doesn't matter if it takes place in space, it's a Western, it's a horror movie, it's a love story. The log line should sum it up. Who's in it? What's going to happen to them? And at the end, do they die or fall in love? Basically, that's it. If it doesn't happen in the log line, then you can spend all your time writing, rewriting, but if you can't say it in 20 words or less, you don't have a story, you have an idea. And you can't make a film out of an idea. You may go between 60 to 120 minutes of ideas, and nobody cares. So back to the first part, the weak story. I know you've seen, but there's major films that spend, who knows, $100,000, $200,000, maybe $4 million. That goes into the background, and then it comes to about $100 million for the film, and it's horrible. Even they have great actors, and it's still horrible because basically the story, it really isn't there. And what they put on is production. They put effects. They put all the glamour and glitz and put a name on the story. But if the story still sucks, for lack of a better word, it still sucks. Even if it's $400 million, it still sucks. And when you go out and they promote it, they hype it, the commercials are on every Friday night and every Saturday. Come see this movie. You go out and you tell your friends, God, I hated that thing. Because when they promise you in a trailer a story in a film that's not there, your first reaction is, I hate it. Because they're lying to me. So really, you know what, if your story's about 2 people falling in love, make sure that's the story of your film. Don't add all the other stuff in there. That's the icing on the cake. A bad piece of cake is still a bad piece of cake with extra icing. So that brings me to the next thing, which is a badly shot film. And I've seen a few of the blockbusters, and God, I think Eraser, I loved Arnold's films, so I'm a big fan. So Eraser what comes to mind. Loved it, but they spent a lot of money on the movie, and it was just kind of horrible. It's like, I think that was the start of the end of his career, and then, you know what happened to him after he got out of the movie business. But that really kind of sets apart, and Bill here talked about the sound, and that's so important. A lot of people think sound is the last thing they want to worry about. They go shoot somewhere. We had a friend that shot with Ron, and it wasn't his fault, but they shot near a train track on a railroad. Between every take, there's a train going by. You know, it's just sound is the last thing that everyone thinks about when working on a film, and it's the first thing you notice when you watch it. Because you turn the sound on your favorite movie, I'd give it 30 seconds before you're bored. Because without the sound, without the atmosphere, without the dialogue, there's nothing happening. Just try it. Try to get out, even your favorite television show. Turn the sound down and watch it for a few minutes. I think you'll be like, why am I bothering with this? Because it doesn't engage you at all. And then the bad actors and no chemistry. God, I can't remember the name of the film, but several large stars were in it. And huge cast. I couldn't believe it was in this movie, and it was just, yeah, it was one of the worst.
Grown-ups,
takes.
that was pretty bad.
Oh, that's the newest one.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a few going back. One of them was it Mystery Men or something like that? It was a weird sci-fi comic book hero people, and it was, I loved all the actors. That was like, I don't know why they even bothered completing the film. It was like, oh my God, horrible just to watch it. It was like, it was painful. That's the same thing, chemistry. If you have actors that you like and want to work with, after you do a casting, have them read together and see if they have chemistry. They could be great on their own, but if they're not paired with the right person, it's going to be horrible. And that's the last thing you want. You're going to spend all this time, write a script that you love, and get actors, or get friends because you can't afford actors, and they read your script and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Just shoot me now. And you think maybe it's the script or something, and maybe it's not. If they don't have chemistry, you can't make fake chemistry. You can put two people in a room together, never met each other, they talk, and you're like, it's interesting. Two people that know each other, they talk, and you can care what they're saying. I mean, that's what chemistry really is. You can't really define it, but you can see it, and you'll know it right away. Then we got the see-through world, and that was one of the hardest things. And I call that second-rate locations and effects, if you do effects in your film. My friend Ron always tells me, shoot with what you have. If you try and make a big set or try and make a big production and it's a little film, if you have a real location, it's always better than trying to make a set for something. If you have an office you can use and it takes place in an office and they'll let you use it over the weekend, use a real office. Because if you make a fake office, the first thing you're notice when you look at the film is like, oh, that's not an office. When people are looking at your film and they're seeing things that aren't real, or they're hearing dialogue they don't believe is real, or there's no chemistry in the actors, or the sound is horrible, you can't understand what they're saying, the music's too loud, or the dialogue's just horrible, then they stop watching your film. When they're criticizing your film, they're not involved in the story. And now you've lost them. It doesn't matter what you do after that point. It's over. They don't care. So once they see something that they don't like and they're taken out of that experience, you know, you've lost. The whole thing about making a film is, and remember that, it's all fake. And we get wrapped up in trying to make it real. Well, yeah, it's real as on screen, but when you're making it, it's all fake. It doesn't have to be that real thing, the laptop opening up and the sound, like Bill was saying with the laptop. If that's all it is, shoot it without the sound. Add the sound in later. Take that noise in the background from the room tone, put that in the background, add the laptop sound effects and all that stuff. Will be better than trying to shoot a laptop and get the sound of it actually opening right then. It's fake. Make it real later. You spend all that time, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. And that comes to the last part, which is the soundtrack. And that's the last of the 5.